thank you for coming out this afternoon in the cold and braving this. Pro-lifers are strong stock, and we come out, rain, snow, it doesn't matter, because we know that the passion that we have and the fight that we're in is beyond anything that would hold us back. And so I'm very grateful for all of you being here. As I shared with you, Reverend Colbreth is not going to be with us today. He called me at 9 o'clock, and he is definitely not feeling well, and so he's not going to be able to join us. We'll try to get him for another campaign. But trying to figure out what to do. Michael and I have been saying the St. Michael prayer all morning because the devil's having a time with us. But we won't let that overcome us. So I'm going to share a few things with you. So I was trying to think what it should be, and a couple of great events are coming up. Dayton Right to Life is going to be having their Viva La Vitae September 9th. September 9th at Far Hills, and the person they're having is Abby Johnson.
Whoa, okay.
And, so want to encourage all of you to support that effort. I thought what I would do today, and especially on the passing of Bernard Nathanson, trying to reflect on it, and the words that Abby has shared in her book, for us to look at those who we call the opposition, and maybe in a different light. The important thing that we're people who promote the dignity and sanctity of all human life. And those who are in the abortion business, they themselves have also been created by God. We may disagree with the lives that they're leading and the choices that they're making, but they too were created by God for His plan and for His purpose. And in those words, don't judge, and so you're not judged. It doesn't mean you don't discern from right and wrong, but you certainly don't make judgment on the lives of those people who are making decisions that we find just reprehensible. So we must pray. We must pray for people like Martin Haskell and Rosalind Cade and the other abortionists in this industry, and for those who work for them. And I think Abby has shown us how important that prayer and how fruitful that prayer can be. So I wanted to just share with you a couple of things about Bernard Nathanson. Bernard Nathanson did a recording about in 2008 for South Dakota for some legislation that they were trying to pass to help end abortion in South Dakota. And he made a audio tape. It was very interesting because you could see he was sick, he's battling cancer, lost that battle, but you could hear in him the depths of his remorse for the responsibility that he had in bringing about legalized abortion in our country. And a couple of things that he said was that he was responsible for 75,000 plus abortions, and that's to include his own child. But his conversion was real, and it was the unborn child who helped converted him to the pro-life, realizing that what he was doing was taking the life of a human being. And so he became a staunch defender of pro-life. We also know of Norma McCorvey, who was Jane Roe in Roe v. Wade, who, again, worked in the abortion industry, thought she was helping women, and it was through the love of a pro-lifer, the unconditional love of the child of a pro-lifer, and the love expressed to her by those, I believe, in Operation Rescue outside the Planned Parenthood abortion clinic where she worked, that finally converted her to pro-life. And then we have Carol Everett, who also came out of the abortion industry, which she was a speaker here a while back at one of our campaigns. And, her remorse for being involved and responsible for 35,000 plus lives lost to abortion. And that's the preborn child, and not even counting the women and the men involved with that. But all of these, and then I wanted to just, from a LifeSite news of dated 11/13/2009 from the Nebraska Catholic Conference, in talking about these conversions, they're talking about the most recent conversion just a few weeks ago, remember this is 2009, was Abby Johnson, the director of a Planned Parenthood abortion facility in Bryan College Station, Texas. Ms. Johnson worked at the facility for 8 years, serving as its director for the last 2. In public comments she made after resigning October 6th, she said, "Over the past few months I have seen a change in motivation regarding the financial impact of abortions, and I reached my breaking point after witnessing a particular kind of abortion on an ultrasound." She said she working at Planned Parenthood, I was extremely pro-choice, but after seeing the internal workings of the procedure for the first time on the ultrasound monitor, I would say there was a definite conversion in my heart, a spiritual conversion. So Abby is speaking out, and we know that she has a very public platform at this time, and her story is extremely vital. I believe she's another one of those pieces to helping end abortion. You know, we had the baby, we had the mother, we've had the fathers, we've had women who have experienced abortion who are now speaking out against it and what the impact that it has made in their lives. And now we have that other component, those people in the abortion industry who are coming out. More and more prominent individuals taking that front stage, and very courageous of them, because recently Abby has had some criticism voiced against her about her comments about the defunding of Planned Parenthood and some legislation saying that the defunding, I don't know exactly what the legislation is, but the allowance of the exception, and we all know what those exceptions are in cases of rape and incest, you know, that those exceptions should be okay. You know, let's take this incrementally. Let's get a little bit as we can go. I've never met Abby Johnson. My sense is that she's a pretty forthright individual, kind of says what's on her heart. And I think she made a comment about we can't get upset over this. After all, it's only 1%. And I recall myself saying things like that. Let's get what we can get. It's only 1%. It's such a small number. But on Facebook, there was a conversation being done with Pam Stenzel and Rebecca Kisling, you know, and they were conceived through rape. They are that 1%. And again, it opened my heart to say, yes, we need to fight this battle incrementally, but at the same time, we have to have compassion for that 1% that we're saying can wait. You know, be patient, wait. Because for me, in all circumstances, a baby is dying. It doesn't matter what the situation is. A baby dies, and a woman is harmed, and a man is harmed. So yes, you know, we can win incrementally, but let's do it with compassion for those who represent that 1%. I wanted to let you know that we have the book Unplanned, 40 Days for Life. Leadership team purchased these books. We're making them available for people here at the rally, $15. A little bit of money to help support our efforts, but not anywhere near the cost of what it would be if you bought it on Amazon or went to the bookstore. And besides that, your money is supporting a great cause. So I would encourage you, if you've not read it, read it. It gave me a whole new insight about those who we oppose and about having compassion for them. And because you did come out, and we're expecting at least to hear somebody speak for a little bit, I don't want you guys to be disappointed. So I'm just going to give you a little taste. And the note from Abby Johnson, I'm going to let you read the book, but interesting, and I want you to hear this part. She says, "My story is not a comfortable one to read. I think it's only fair to warn you that up front. Not comfortable, but honest and true. As you are about to discover, I've spent years on the front lines of the face-off between pro-choice and pro-life advocates. Which side? Both sides. You are about to enter my journey from a naive college girl to director of a Planned Parenthood clinic to advocate for families in crisis, including the unborn members of those families. I reveal my story not because I am proud of it, I am not. But my thinking and choices are not unlike those of so many people I have encountered. And until we each set aside our own preferences for how we wish others would think and behave, or how we assume others think and behave, we won't be able to understand those with whom we differ in order to engage in real dialogue and discover truth. I've done my best to be true to my thinking and reasoning within each of these stages of my journey, no matter how faulty, how embarrassing, or how politically incorrect. So I suppose that at times you will ask the same questions I've been asked time and again. Were you really that gullible? Were you really so inconsistent between your values and your actions? Were you really so ambivalent, so naive, so foolish? You get the picture. My answer, yes. I have also been asked, were you and your pro-choice co-workers really driven by compassion and tenderness, by motives of truly helping women and making the world a better place? Again, yes. I feel often that people don't like my answers. That is understandable. My story is not neat and tidy, and it doesn't come wrapped in easy answers. Oh, how we love to vilify our opponents from both sides. How easy to assume that those on our side are right and wise and good, and how those on their side are treacherous and foolish and deceptive. I have found right and good and wisdom on both sides. I have found foolishness, treachery, and deception on both sides as well. I have experienced how good intentions can be warped into poor choices no matter what the side. To this day, I have friends on both sides of this polarizing debate. We all long for a story that shows our side is right and good, and their side is wrong and bad, don't we? But I testify there is good and right and wrong on both sides of the fence. And even more shocking, we have far more in common with the other side than we might imagine. But don't slam this book shut because of what I've just said. Read it for that very reason. Read it to understand the surprising hopes and motivations of the other side. I was loved from one side onto the other. My hope is that many more thousands will be loved into truth as well. Maybe you will be the one loving someone on the other side of the fence. So what side of the fence are you on? In all likelihood, so you look through the fence, you see faulty thinking, harmful behavior on the other side. Here's my question for you. Are you ready to look through the fence and see goodness, compassion, generosity, and self-sacrifice on the other side? Did you just feel yourself squirm? If so, welcome to my journey. So hopefully that'll give you a little enticement to look at the book. And I agree, a lot of what she says I'm not comfortable with. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to see the other side as having any good in them at all. I want to see them as misguided and evil and deceptive. But again, I have to tell myself, God created those individuals, and I have to love them into what I believe God really wants them to do. And so, again, I'm glad that you came out here. About this time in the past, we've opened the mic up to anybody who wants to come forward, share something, announce something.